Hey, I'm AJ Fisher, and today we are here to talk about how you can use breath control to make positive changes in your menopausal experience. How amazing is it that you can use your breath to improve inflammation, to improve stress control, to improve so many things that are going to help you alleviate those symptoms that you're experiencing as you go through that transitional phase. So let's break it down. When we slow the breath down, we're affecting our nervous system, our autonomic nervous system. And so when we're slowing that, especially that exhalation down, we are increasing activity of our parasympathetic nervous system, which can help to decrease stress in the body, almost instantaneously lowering the heart rate, and also can help to decrease things like inflammatory status of the body simply by reducing our chronic stress. And as menopausal females, there's a lot more stress than usual because of the shifts in hormones. And this is where we can use a specific breath control in combination with movement. There is that option to add movement in to also decrease stress and to improve your carbon dioxide tolerance. So when you combine the movement with the breath work, you're going to improve that carbon dioxide tolerance more quickly. What is your carbon dioxide tolerance? This is the amount of carbon dioxide that you're able to sustain and you're able to endure, and you're going to achieve that by slowing your exhalation down. And when you combine it with movement, you raise that carbon dioxide threshold more effectively, and you raise it more. Why? Because you're flooding your body with more carbon dioxide. I know carbon dioxide has a bad reputation, but it's actually a good thing. So if we can train our body, the receptors in our body that sense carbon dioxide in our system to be able to have a tolerance for higher levels of carbon dioxide, we can reduce our stress levels. And this is really important in the menopausal experience. Years ago, I created a technique called the HYPOXiX technique, which is a combination of my breathing technique, breathography, that uses a 2-second inhale and an 8-second exhalation. This not only is instantaneously calming your nervous system, increasing activity of that parasympathetic nervous system like we talked about, but we're also strengthening our core, improving our focus, improving our attention, and improving cognition, which is a key piece in that menopausal phase because of the changes in the brain with the changes in estrogen. We all know, or maybe you've looked into this, when our estrogen drops, because of the effect of the hormone estrogen on the brain, there are memory changes, there are executive functioning changes, there are even movement perception changes, navigational changes, a lot of changes that we can improve using a combination of breath work, slow controlled breathing, and also in combination with movement, because we're going to activate these areas of the brain that are continuing to be affected by those menopausal changes due to the hormonal changes. The breathing technique that I developed, we've been studying in the research for the past couple of years, and we have seen a significant effect on the blood oxygen. Now, why is this important, and how does this relate to the menopausal experience? Well, when you drop your blood oxygen lightly, you're ultimately altitude training. These are why athletes go to the mountains to train in altitude, because there are amazing performance enhancing benefits, but there are also other benefits, other changes that are happening in the body that positively affect general health and well-being, stress, strength. We're not only talking about endurance here. So it's important to go into the other areas that we can improve by working intermittent hypoxia into our program. Now, you can perform this lightly. It doesn't need to be very intense. In fact, the protocol that I've developed, I'm using a slow exhale but very short breath retention. So it's not extreme, like the Wim Hof method or, doing 30 or 60-second breath holds. We're just pausing the breath. We're pausing the breath for a moment so that we can very lightly decrease the blood oxygen, lightly increase the body's carbon dioxide levels. And as we do this, we are exposing ourselves to light stressors. We need to stress our body to see positive changes, to see those adaptations over time. So we're increasing things like growth hormones, growth factors in the body, like VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor. We're increasing a transcription factor called HIF1, hypoxia-inducible factor, and this happens with cyclic breathing when we're adding those short breath retentions in. And so I want to demonstrate to you today, and also with the Menopausal Breathography Program. And if you go to HYPOXiX.fitness, HYPOXiX.fitness, you can check out that program for yourself. It's a 4-week program where you will learn the research-backed breathography breathing technique, and also you will apply it and integrate it into 4 weeks of exercise where we use the breathing in combination with strength, with core, with mobility, a little bit of cardiovascular work, recovery work as well. It's a great way to introduce yourself to using a very controlled breathing, using very specific sounds, specific intensities of breath in order to not only get really strong and get your core really strong, but also improve the stress, improve the inflammation, improve the activity in your brain, and it just can help with symptoms when you're going through menopause. Okay, so HYPOXiX.fitness, check out the menopausal breathography program. And now let's go through how and why each of these components is going to help you as you're going through menopause. During menopause, there's an increase in your pro-inflammatory cytokines. What does this mean? Ultimately, the inflammation is increasing in your body, and it becomes chronic during that period of time, and there are going to be negative consequences, and we want to try to minimize those as much as possible. So by employing something in your daily routine that has been shown in studies to reduce pro-inflammatory cytokines is going to help you during your transition. Intermittent hypoxic training has been shown in several studies to reduce pro-inflammatory cytokines. Also, slow controlled breathing has been shown to reduce slow pro-inflammatory cytokines. So put the two together and double whammy, amazing. It's going to help with that inflammation during the menopausal phase. Menopausal women have been shown to experience greater rates of vascular dysfunction. Vascular dysfunction has been shown to improve when nitric oxide levels are raised in the body. And so slow breathing has been shown in multiple studies to increase levels of nitric oxide. Additionally, intermittent hypoxic training increases the body's nitric oxide levels. In fact, hypoxic training or altitude training or hypoxic breathing, slow exhales with those short breath retentions, has been shown to reduce the body's blood pressure. And this is mostly due to the increases in nitric oxide in that vascular endothelium or in the blood vessel walls ultimately. So we're increasing the body's nitric oxide level due to the intermittent hypoxic breathing and due to the slow breathing. Again, double whammy, amazing. Integrate these into your menopausal routine. Menopause certainly has been linked to sarcopenia. What is sarcopenia? Sarcopenia is the natural loss of muscle as we age. We all experience it. We can fight it though with resistance training. And also, intermittent hypoxic training has been shown to increase activity of certain enzymes in the muscle and also increase activity of the type 2 fast twitch muscle fiber. So this is ultimately the bigger muscle fiber that's going to have a greater effect on our metabolic health. And this is the part of the muscle that tends to decline or get smaller with age, and that is sarcopenia. So if we can focus on increasing activation of that type 2 fast twitch muscle fiber and increase the activity of glycolytic enzymes in the muscle while we're training, we're going to reduce the risk of sarcopenia. And because sarcopenia is associated with menopause, bingo, right? So get that hypoxic training in there and it's going to help. And also slow breathing, because it improves your motor control or your ability to focus while you're working out. You're going to have enhanced attentional control, enhanced attention, and less risk for injury while you're working out, which is going to keep you more frequent with your exercise, and it's going to help reduce sarcopenia, the loss of muscle that does accelerate during the menopausal transition. So we really want to put that in there. The menopausal transition has been associated with a decline in cognitive function. This is due to the neuroprotective effect that estrogen has on the brain. And so memory, reactive skills, language skills, all of these components are affected. So we really need to look into activities that can help to increase blood flow to the brain and increase neurogenesis in the brain. That's the birth of new neurons, growth factors in the brain. And guess what? Intermittent hypoxic training increases VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, which increases neurons in the brain, neurogenesis. So we want to get that in your menopausal program. Also, hypoxic training increases blood flow to the brain. I know it seems counterintuitive. We're lowering the blood oxygen, and because of that, the brain's natural response is to increase blood flow to the brain. Increased blood flow is a catalyst for positive change and preventing those menopausal effects that that are declining the brain's function. Additionally, slow breathing, because of the increases in carbon dioxide levels, also increases blood flow to the brain. And many studies have actually shown improvements in memory and reactive skills, language skills, when slowing the breath down and looking at the correlation between the increase in carbon dioxide and the improvement in brain function. Blood glucose regulation is affected by menopause. And so there are a lot of strategies that we can take. First and foremost, exercise and nutrition, really watching those blood glucose spikes, trying to manage that, complex carbohydrates, when you do have carbohydrates, proteins, healthy fats, all the things, eat those desserts, but sparingly. And, getting that exercise in. Now, high intensity exercise is definitely supported, shown to help improve the blood glucose regulation, and also heavy strength training, because of the muscle's ability to metabolize glucose and drop the blood sugar, because it just goes right on into that muscle cell. Now, hypoxic training and breath control can help you regulate your blood sugar. In fact, there have been many studies that show that hypoxic training helps to regulate the blood sugar more effectively than normal exercise, because of the intense anaerobic activity or glycolytic activity. Ultimately, it means that we're able to burn through our body's sugars, our body's glycogen stores, which ultimately means that we are able to regulate our blood sugar as an adaptive response after that. I know we're getting a little nerdy here, but ultimately, hypoxic training, it has the ability to regulate blood sugar. And then slow breathing also, because of that similar effect of increasing the glycolytic activity, or let's just call it like the activity of the sugar system in the body, just to make it a little more clear. If we work that sugar system, we're more able to then have a healthy sugar system afterwards. I know that's not the scientific term, but just to make the point, anything that you work hard, that you raise during exercise, is going to be better regulated after exercise. That's why during exercise, our blood pressure rises. But our blood pressure gets lower after exercise and it's more regulated. Our heart rate gets high during exercise, but it gets lower after exercise and it's more regulated after exercise. You see? So anything that you lean into and train during exercise is going to be more regulated and better off after exercise. So definitely include hypoxic training and breath training for your blood glucose during menopause. The pelvic floor, ladies. It is certainly affected. If you are in menopause right now, I know you're feeling that. Every layer of the pelvic floor is affected by the drops in estrogen. The estrogen receptors affect the strength of the pelvic floor. And so if we can add a daily habit that's going to help to improve our pelvic floor control, well, that is going to help you a lot with sensation, with activity, with lubrication, with pelvic floor function, which affects every single other muscle in your body, especially stabilization of your pelvis, your abdominals. If you have control of your pelvic floor, you have control of your lower back, of the other muscles in your pelvis. They're all interconnected. And so breath control has been shown to increase activity of the pelvic floor, specifically on the exhale. When you lift the pelvic floor on the exhale and then you release the pelvic floor on the inhale, you're going to get greater strength effects than not timing your breathing with your pelvic floor work. And so I highly recommend adding in that slow breathing for your pelvic floor. And then additionally, because hypoxic training does increase activity of the musculature, like we talked about previously with sarcopenia, I do recommend adding in the slow exhale in combination with movement and even short breath retentions to achieve better results in your pelvic floor training program. And fat loss, I know, redistribution of the adipose tissue, fancy name for just fat. The adiposity in the central region, in the waist area, redistributes and increases in that waist area. The reason I love combining slow breathing with movement is that we do have the ability, and many studies have supported this, to improve the amount of fat loss around the waist. And additionally, hypoxic training has been shown to increase the rate and the total volume of fat loss in comparison to normoxic or normal exercise. And so if we can employ a strategy that is going to help us out during the menopausal period, I recommend doing it, because not only is it going to help with that body composition and with that fat loss that plagues all menopausal females, but also it's going to help reduce your risk of injury and give you the strongest core of your life, so you might as well. Because of all of the aforementioned factors, I highly recommend combining your breath work with your movement as a strategy to reduce symptoms during your menopausal experience. Now, hey, it can't hurt. you're going to get stronger. You're going to have the best control of your body and your life, because you are going to connect that breath to every single movement, which is going to improve your motor control. It's going to improve your body composition, increase activation of muscle fibers, improve your cognition. Every single study has shown that you increase blood flow to the brain when you slow your breathing down, especially in combination with movement, and that is a catalyst for positive change. So first and foremost, learn the breathography breathing technique. We're now in our 3rd year of research looking at several variables, and it's very exciting. I can't share all of it, but I'd love to teach it to you. So visit hypoxic.fitness, HYPOXiX.fitness. I'll teach you the breathography baby steps, which basically breaks down every single component of the breathography technique. And then you'll apply it to 4 weeks of exercise. It's a menopausal program that I designed for the menopausal female. It's a combination of mobility, core, breathwork, recovery, total body strength exercises, mostly at a beginner level, because I know many of you will be trying this for the first time and you are combining a very specific breathing technique. It sounds like this. You do make those sounds with me as we exhale, and that is so that you don't get lost on the exhale. We synchronize with one another on the sounds of the exhale, and also to increase your core activation as you go through that breath. Now, we do wear an abdominal ribbon, and it's easy to find it on Amazon, connect it to the program, and you're going to connect to that ribbon when you're working out in order to improve your core control and just improve your relationship with your whole body, but just to really focus on that breathing core in every single exercise that you do. So HYPOXiX.fitness, HYPOXiX.fitness. You can either click the link below or go there, and shout out to the Breath Source and the amazing work that they are doing on this menopausal program, using a variety of strategies, using the breath to help with the menopausal experience. It certainly works. I've used it with a lot of my own personal clients, and it's worked outstandingly. So I can't wait to see you there, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.